Hey friends, you're tuned in to the Learn or Be Learned podcast, a show where wisdom meets curiosity in order to discover the human experience. I'm your host, Shiva D, and remember, you either learn from or you're learned from. Now, let's get back to the show. All right, welcome back, friends, to another great episode. This is the Enlightened Nomad series, basically the monologue episodes, and it's just going to be me today. So without further ado, let's jump into this quick episode about Jim Rohn's steps to unprecedented life mastery. And Jim Rohn was a amazing entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and just a profound and wise thinker. He was a thought leader. I very much resonate with a lot of Jim Rohn's content, Bob Proctor's content, Napoleon Hill's content from Think and Grow Rich. These men understood the world at a complexity that not very many people often either experience or understand yet. And the profound wisdom was something that was always attracted to me, that pulled me towards wanting to hear more. So without further ado, I'm just going to give you the 5 quick steps about it, maybe relate it a little bit to myself and let you guys apply it to your life. So let's jump in. Step 1, get serious, right? For life mastery, first step is always getting serious. You need to instill the habits, the vision, the identity, the why, and the goals, right? So for I did this book, Atomic Habits. I've talked about it so many times, but it's such a great book. And James Clear talks about how first you need to create an identity, right? So I'll just use my podcast as one of many examples and how I apply this to my life. But I'll use the podcast so you can follow along and have some sort of connection to relate it to, some sort of comparison, right? So for the podcast, I had to create a vision of what I wanted, and then I had to create goals. I had to create an identity, right? I had to think to myself, if Joe Rogan could do it, so could I. So I had to create an identity that I believe I could be an amazing podcaster, and use my vision as the guiding pole towards where I want to go, and then use goals as the stepping stone to get there, and then use habits as the transportation to get to those goals, right? And this didn't come from day one. This orchestration took time, right? Much like a chess match, it takes time to set up your plan of attack, your strategies. And in particular, this idea of why, the purpose or the why, actually came way later. It was something that formulated over years. So this doesn't all have to be done in order for you to get to step 2. It's a balance, it's a dance of these 5 steps in order to get to life mastery. You might completely crush step 2 before step 1's even finished. So these are just the 5 steps and the sub steps of, what this is all about. But definitely habits, you need to form good habits, right? Podcasting, I needed to become consistent, which meant I needed systems. Systems over goals is what James Clear talks about. You need goals for sure, because like I said, goals are the stepping stone towards your vision, right? They're often the milestone markers of your vision. But if you actually want to get to each goal, you need systems in place, which is essentially habits, right? So vision, habits, goals, and your purpose is all about getting serious. And in a few episodes before, I talked about how success can be a lonely road. And it's often because of this first step right here. It's getting serious. Because oftentimes it requires you to look at yourself and think, I need to do this, this, and this instead, right? I need to edit this podcast episode at night instead of going out with my friends. Or I can't drink with my friends because tomorrow morning I have a podcast recording with a guest. It'll ruin the rest of my week because I'll have a hangover, so I don't drink much anymore. Things like that, right? You don't have to give up everything in life because everything in life is about balance, but sometimes you need to realign and reprioritize what needs to be done. Step 2 is about getting smart. So step 1, get serious. Step 2, get smart. ideas, information, adapting in today's day and age with the technological revolution and how quickly things are changing. We need to be adaptable, implementing AI into your workflow, having systems, implementing AI into your systems, building teams, delegating tasks, learning leadership in order to create a team. All these things come with time, but getting smart, right? Understanding this now in order to implement that into the future. So learning, gaining information, gaining knowledge, journaling, and all sorts of these things is where step 2 comes into play. Now, step 3 is even more important. It's about get going, putting it into action, pressing submit. That first moment I press submit, publish, right? That first moment I press publish on episode 1 of this podcast, I think I sat there for like an hour, right? Thinking to myself, what if I post it? What if I don't? The whole world is gonna see it. They're gonna laugh at me. I'm gonna look stupid. What if I said something stupid that I don't remember and I get blasted on the internet for it? All those fears crept in and I almost didn't press publish. But I took a deep breath. I actually did Mel Robbins' idea, which I did a podcast episode on. Let me find it. Episode. Wow, I've done a lot of episodes. Episode 57. Mel Robbins shares her psychological secrets to taking control of your life. Spoiler from that episode, one thing that she recommends is the 5-second rule. So count down backwards, because your brain, if you count down up, right, say, I'm going to do something in 5 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your brain realizes you can infinitely go further. So it actually doesn't put that pressure for you to take that jump. So she recommends going backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, jump, right? Think about it. Somebody asks you to jump off the diving board into a pool, you always count backwards, right? Same concept. That's actually what I did before I even knew about this technique. Is I counted backwards, took a deep breath, closed my eyes, counted back. I had my finger on the cursor on the mouse on the publish button, and my finger on the trackpad. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, counted backwards from 5, and then I just pressed publish, and then I exited out of the website. I just shut my laptop and went about my day. I think I went for a walk or something. I was like, no, I can't think about this. I can't do this. But then after that, it got easier and easier and easier, right? So obviously, the reason I couldn't go further into like video podcasting and stuff was because I didn't have the systems in place to handle that kind of next level of tasks and such. So I realized later that how important the systems were and how much I didn't put an emphasis and create them in order to reach to that next goal, right? In order for that next goal of video podcasting, I needed the right systems in place, which I didn't have. So that goal crumbled and my foundation started to crumble. So I had to take a step back. But all that to say that you need to jump. You just need to get going. The most tragic thing I've seen this in many people, especially people older than me as well, is that they will have this vast amount of knowledge, but then they never did anything with it. And I actually tell people all the time that I believe wisdom is having knowledge but acting on it, because wisdom comes from experience, and you will never gain experience if you never jump. So get going is number 3. Number 4, get excited. Not just positive thinking, but more so, discipline. Discipline, doing the thing day in and day out, and getting excited that you'll get there. So when I did the book Alchemist, I think a couple episodes back, or 1 or 2 episodes back, I did the book Alchemist, and it talks about personal journey. It's a fable. It's a fiction book written with the essence of personal growth through symbolism. And they talk about your personal journey and going and getting there. And I talked about in that episode that many people have the goal, I want to be a millionaire. But I think the right way of thinking is being excited about that journey of what it takes to become the millionaire, right? Or the billionaire, or the Olympic athlete, or the best chef in the world, right? Whatever your dream is, I think it's far more exciting to think about who you will become in that time and what you will learn in that time than the actual state of being in itself, because that's transient. It will disappear. Once you hit that millionaire status, it will disappear. I've seen it in people, because then what ends up happening is, what's next? Can I hit 10 million? Can I hit 100 million? Can I hit 1 billion? Right? I got a silver medal at the Olympics. Can I get gold? Because as humans, we need to keep pushing towards something. So the goal always increases, right? So that's always transient. So if you have this goal and this vision and this dream of wanting something, you should be more excited about what it will take and who it takes to get there. And I think that's what drives conviction, right? Be excited for your potential. Because capacity is never the problem if you think about it. It's your mental blockage. It's your own hindrance is always the problem. People will say, yeah, I don't know if I'm cut out for that. Yeah, I don't know if I could do that. Yeah, you're probably right. If that's how you think, then you most definitely won't, right? Versus think about it. If someone came up to you and said, I'm starting a podcast, will you give me 10K to get started? And you start asking them questions about it. They say, yeah, I don't know. I think I can do it. There's just so many better people out there that just have more than me, and they just have more followers, and they just put in more work. And maybe I'm too late to the game. You know, Joe Rogan's been doing this for 12 years. Shiva's been doing this for 3 years. You know, I'm not close to where Shiv is. Like, how am I going to get there? I don't know. But can I get 10K? People are going to laugh in your face. No one's going to give you 10K, man. No one's going to give you 10K. No one's going to give you anything because you don't believe in yourself. There's no conviction there. Now compare it to this. Would you be willing to give me $10,000 to support not me, but the vision that I have for this show? I want to help people and expand their perspectives and help them gain wisdom that they can apply into their lives by discovering the human experience. And I believe the human experience to be the embodiment of understanding one's mind, body, and spirit. And with that, they can empower themselves to take on their own personal journeys and their own dreams and go as far as they can and want. But for that, I need some money, and I need to raise some money in order to get there. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when I'll get that money. But if you could give it to me, I could catapult and get to that next level faster and help more people now. And with your support, I would take that money and I'd put it into marketing. I'd put it into this. Portion of it will funnel into this episode, which will cascade into this and transport into that. You know, that one already sounds better. I mean, that's just a dead giveaway which one sounded better, right? Because one person not only had conviction, they also had a thought process of what they were doing and where it was going and what they want from it. And a key point, actually, I spoke with this one growth coach once, and she shared with me this idea of marketing not yourself, but your vision when asking for sponsors or when asking for somebody to support your goals, right? If you're looking for a mentor, don't ask them to mentor you, ask to mentor your vision, right? Obviously, both are intertwined, right? Because we're humans. You're not just supporting an arbitrary goal, you're supporting me, who has the goal. But ultimately, you're also supporting the goal through me. Anyways, let's get to number 5. Number 5 is actually really interesting. Jim Rohn calls it, right? So just to recap, get serious, get smart, get going, get excited, and number 5, get away. Be alone, reflect on how you want to live, how you've been living, right? You need to reflect on how to live well, how to earn well. That's why I've been learning Ayurveda. That's why I've been learning wealth creation, team management, team building, systems, yoga, stretching, the importance of diet. I've just been learning. I spent 6 months in India, got away from everything that I had, and I needed to reflect, I needed to be alone, and I needed to grow from it. And that required me to drop everything that I had in order to do what I needed to do. And that was hard because financially, it was a hard place to be when I did that. To give up working and give up money and give up everything and go be alone and go reflect and grow. It's hard, but I think it's well worthwhile because after that trip was over and I came back, I have never in my life been stronger than I am today. I feel as though I can take on anything with courage and bravery because I may not know everything, but I know that I can know anything. Whatever issue there is, I can get through it, I can conquer it, and I can share it so other people can also learn from it. I saw this idea on social media and I thought it was really interesting. This guy was saying, if you want more from life, you must first give yourself less. right? Give yourself less social media time, less screen time, less enjoyments, less dopamine, less. Give yourself less money, put more money into your dreams, put more money into investments, put more money into other things, put more money into your health, right? I spend a substantial amount of money on health and education and conferences and networking and this podcast, which you wouldn't even believe me. But anyways, getting back to it, get some time, get away. I know that's a luxury, and I know some of you might say, hey, Shiv, how am I going to do that? I have bills to pay, I have mortgage to pay, I have a wife, I have kids, I have family, I have a husband, I have, whatever, yada, yada. I have to take care of my parents. There's always so many things. But if there's a will, there's a way. I know if you're listening to this episode, or you're listening to me, or you're listening to people like me, or you're listening to this show, these types of ideas, then I 100% believe in you. I think you're the type of person that can do it, right? If there's a will, there's a way. And I can't stress enough how much getting away will help you recalibrate, reset, and re-strengthen yourself. So when you do come back to your kingdom, you can grow the empire and take on life like you've never taken it before. You will be unstoppable. And I can say that from experience. I mean, it was the second most transformative time of my life. The first, you might ask? Well, it was when I went to Kenya, which, surprise, surprise, was also getting away from everything. It was being alone, getting away. And that trip, I actually got away from data, signal, networks, social media, the phone. My phone usage was about 10 minutes a day because there was nothing to do. It was basically paperweight. It was basically an expensive camera. That's the only thing I could do. That's the only thing I did, was take photos, because over time, everything gets deleted. Once you haven't been connected to the internet or network for an extended period of time, everything deletes off your phone, like audiobooks, ebooks, music, like from Spotify, everything deletes. Netflix movies you've downloaded. So that helped me get away. That was the first time. And that's why I had this strong belief that if I did it again, I would grow even more than I did in that 45, 50-day trip, that 2-month trip that I took to Kenya. If I take even longer and I go somewhere else and I remove myself from my day-to-day, I can come back much stronger. And I truly believe that's helped me. I mean, it's given me time to reflect on the podcast, see where I made mistakes, reflect on where my weaknesses are, create systems in place, and now I'm ready to expand the team, expand the knowledge, expand the systems, and now switch to video podcasting, which I wanted to do a year ago. But that goal was hard to obtain because the systems weren't in place and my habits weren't in place, right? Step one, get serious. My habits weren't in place to get me there. But now I'm ready to take on that next milestone. I hope you guys got a few things out of this. Hopefully, Jim Rohn was an incredible entrepreneur and thought leader, and hopefully some of the stuff that I intertwined and connected through my personal experiences to expand on his points might help you as well. So thank you all for tuning into this episode, and please share this with anyone you might think would benefit from understanding these 5 steps to life mastery. Get serious, get smart, get going, get excited, and get away. So thank you all for tuning in and investing your time with me. I don't take that lightly. And remember, everybody, you either learn from or you learn from. Thanks.